Dear Anthony, so today for episode 3, we're going to talk about what's probably the least important aspect of music making, but I know it's the one that everybody wants to hear about, and that is gear. Why is it the least most important? Well, because there's more talk on the web and amongst musicians about gear, and yet the only thing that matters is transferring this and this to your recording device or to the audience. It's all that matters. Okay, with that said, let me give you some insights. So I'm supposed to be Mr. Gear, and I'm telling you it's not that important. Yes, it's not that important because too many people, too many musicians get wrapped up in chasing after the latest, coolest, neatest device, and you spend all your time on it, and sometimes that can lead you down interesting avenues and places of spheres that you haven't been exposed to before, or gives you some new ideas and creativity, and that's what they're good for. However, there's so many of them out there, you can't do what I did and just get all of them, right? And blow a ton of money whittling down to what works for you. So I'm going to help, hopefully this will help, to get you to the point where you're not blowing all your money to get to that place. So what's important? Okay, you're a guitar player. I know you play keyboards. We'll talk a little bit about that, a little bit about drums, microphones, but let's start with the guitar. You need a good guitar. It doesn't have to be an expensive guitar. One of the best guitar players in the world, Jack Pearson, who's here in Nashville, he's amazing. I mean, next level. You know what guitar he plays? A Fender Squier, literally off the rack from Guitar Center. Sure, he went in, he played a bunch, he found the one that felt right to him, but not even a top tier artist model, custom shop, no. He plays a Fender Squier. Sure, he probably had it set up the way he wants. Maybe he had the frets dressed, but he's been playing that for years and like blowing people away. So you need to take your time and you need to do your research. Stop chasing your tail around like a lot of people, including myself, did. There's so much information on YouTube. There's so many demos. There's so much variety of demos and approaches that you can find out what you need by just yes, it takes time. I've done it myself. It's very time consuming, but it's very worth it. Will it give you 100% of what you're going for and understanding? Probably not, but it'll get you 80% of the way there. So that's number one. Do your bloody homework. It's just like anything else in music. You got to do your homework. You got to put in your practice. Do your research. Check out as many things as you can on YouTube. Don't get too tied up in forums because there's a lot of jibba-jabba on forums. Yeah, there's some good ideas and might be able to point you in the right direction, but a lot of those people aren't using it practically every day. No disrespect, but it's different when you're in a full-time working proposition and how those things affect your job. Just is. So do your homework. Go to Guitar Center or any guitar stores. By doing your research online, you'll figure out who carries what, Sam Ash, whatever's near you. Play as much stuff as you can in person. It's very important to feel the guitar, to feel the keyboard, to feel the drums, whatever instrument it is that you're looking for. And it doesn't have to be an expensive one, okay? It just has to feel right. It has to sound right to you. It has to communicate what you want. So in as many situations as possible, go and try, get an opportunity to try it. If you can't try it, or even before you try it, like I said, get on YouTube and watch. Yeah, it's going to take hours, but watch as many demos as you can. Do not do what I did and buy a ton of everything and then have to whittle through. There's a lot of great builders out there. You don't have to spend a lot of money there. You want an overdrive? There's tons of overdrives. Check them out on YouTube first. Ask people who have actually used it and not are talking about the YouTube demo, because you've already seen that. Delays, modulation, reverbs, whatever it is, do your research, find your sound, and then whenever possible, go play it. Or if you have to order it after you've done your research because you can't play it, buy it from someone that has a liberal return policy. There's a lot of places that have 30, 45 days, believe it or not, and give great service. So maybe build a relationship with someone at one of those places. Yeah, I know their job is to sell, but you can ask questions, and if they have a good return policy, that's a healthy way to go about that. You need a good guitar cable. Yes, there's a difference with cables. I wouldn't get caught up in how much of a difference. There is a difference. I use Evidence cables after trying a ton of other stuff, but there's a lot of good cable companies. I still have 3 DiMarzio cables that were really, really good when they came out like 20 years ago or something. I've still got them. They're still amazing. They still work. They still sound great. Those were like super cheap at the time, like $25. You can go up to $125 or maybe more. Ask some questions, look around, check stuff out. So that's important. Need a good cable. Amps. All right, so if you're a guitar player, amps. I suggest you don't need the 100-watt amp. You need like a 20-watt amp with a 12-inch speaker at least. There's so many tube variations, 6v6, EL34, EL84. You can get lost. What is important is your guitar to your cable to the amp. What sound is it you want to hear? Is it communicating? Is it feeling right to what you want? Try it. Ask as many questions. Again, look at demos, but most importantly, try it. So you get a good, you don't need more than a 20-watt. Trust me, that's plenty bleeping loud. 15, 20-watt, 12-inch speaker. Another suggestion I would make is get a smaller practice amp. Sometimes they sound great together when split off. A smaller practice amp that's not going to rip your head off when you're playing at home and working stuff out. A lot of them sound really good. I recently got a Supro 1606 reproduction. Amazing. I love it. It's just got volume. Done. Sounds great. I've even recorded with it. Nobody would know. But have a little variety. When it comes to keyboards, okay, I bought tons of keyboards. I own quite a few keyboards, and they're all cool. But guess what? Recently, I switched over to virtual instruments. I got a Novation 49 key. I've got a 63 key. The virtual instruments nowadays are freaking amazing. Some of them are expensive, but they're worth it. But you can get a lot of stuff for free. So I would suggest find a good keyboard that works for you, that you can plug into your DAW and explore virtual instruments rather than spending tons of money on keyboards. I still love my Roland R600, but it's heavy as hell. It sounds great, but it's already gone down on me once. These controllers are pretty inexpensive. You can get them anywhere. They also sometimes come with free software, which brings me to your recording DAW. It doesn't matter if you use Ableton, Cubase, or Pro Tools. I've got Pro Tools running right now for this, but I've got another computer that's dedicated to my virtual instruments that I use Cubase and Ableton on. I like them all for different reasons. I like Pro Tools the best, but for virtual instruments and programming and other stuff, I stick to Cubase and Ableton, but mostly Cubase these days because it's mostly VI I've been using. So find yourself a good inexpensive controller, one that feels good to you. Again, try it. Drums, again, you gotta feel it. You gotta try it. There's different sizes, there's different skins, there's different woods, there's different size cymbals. You gotta try this stuff and feel it, because until you feel it, you're not going to know. Yeah, you can get a lot of advice from people and see what other guys are doing. And if there's a sound that connects to you, see what that cat is using and look into it. But still, it has to translate for you. So you need to try it. You need to check stuff out. For recording software, again, gear is not important. Don't get caught up in buying tons of plugins. Yes, there's a lot of cool plugins out there. A lot of them are easy to use. A lot of them sound great. over 30 years, I've found myself sticking. It's funny, I open up sessions and I'm using the same stuff all the time, even though I own hundreds and hundreds of plugins, some I even forgot I own. They're all cool, but there's tried and true ones that I stick with, and they don't get in the way of my flow. They make my job easier. Very, very important. Strongly recommended to find what works for you there. Now, however, since you're starting out, there's tons of free plugins out there that are amazing. The ones that come with Pro Tools, the ones that come with Cubase are like really blew me away. There's stuff that comes in Ableton for free. You can use any and all of those free plugins to make music without being impeded. Let me say that again. All of the free software that comes with your computer, including virtual instruments, plugins, everything, you'll be fine. You don't need to buy a ton of stuff. If there's something special you want, or you've heard something else, an application work somewhere else, you want to check it out, demo it. They've all got free demos for like 15 days or something. But trust me on this, Google the best free plugins. You'll come up with tons of lists that will show you and give you free downloads. And guess what? A lot of those are amazing. So between third-party free plugins that you can get and the stuff that comes with your DAW, don't go crazy. It'll work. You'll be able to get work done. You'll be able to translate what you're trying to say and feel. It won't get in the way. It'll be fine. So again, don't get caught up in gear. I wanted to have this chat with you. Everybody wants to hear about gear. It's probably the least important aspect of making music. Yes, it assists. Yes, it can help, but it's not the most important thing. So I just wanted to put that out there. I'm going away for a few weeks to Europe, so I won't be able to put up another one till, I don't know, middle to the end of September, whenever it is I get back. So this episode 3 will suffice for now, and I know you're out there working hard and you're practicing. That's the most important thing. Working, practicing, creating. All the rest of it's nonsense. But if you have any questions about gear, you have any questions about anything else in music, reach out to me. I'll put it in my next videos. I've got a bunch of stuff to share with you coming up over the coming months about working in the studio, working with other musicians and artists, the road, touring, etc., etc. So keep working hard. I know you're doing great, man. I'm really proud of you. And just hang in there. And again, reach out to me if you have any questions about anything, but don't get caught up in all this stuff. All that matters is your heart, your head, and translating it through these wires. That's it. Everything else is gravy. Oh, and by the way, when it comes to some of the boutique stuff I've got, yeah, sure, it's really cool. I had to blow through a lot of that stuff, which is really expensive. A lot of them only make, 20 or 50 at a time, and they're all cool. But even there, I've had to whittle through and find what works for me. So now even when I hear about something new, go on YouTube and check it out thoroughly before I blow my money and sitting there waiting for some countdown when they put it on sale at 12 o'clock, only if it works. And I know like 95% it's going to work for me. And one last thing before I go, I just remembered, I don't want to discount multi-effect boxes. You would be shocked how many amazing musicians I know are using a Helix or a Mod Duo, which I just got into recently, or any number of Fractal, whole bunch of stuff. Why? Because it's easy to carry. They sound like 90% of the way of what you would do if you had to construct a whole pedal board with your particular sounds, maybe more than 90%, but to me, at least 90%. They're easy to carry, and you can program the hell out of it, make presets, tweak each individual effect exactly the way you want it, and boom, it's right there. So I don't want to discount multi-effect units. I know I'm Mr. Pedal Guy, but I love multi-effect units, especially when traveling on the road. You can really work hard and get it to sound exactly the way you want. Highly portable. They sound great. They're so much better than they were years ago. It's come so far. I've got my buddy Loki in Australia is making these incredible boxes that's like they're real room reverbs and halls and modulations and delay. I mean, what they're doing now, I think we're about to go into the dawn of where programming is going to take things next level. So don't discount that stuff. A lot of it's shark and whatever. Don't get caught up in that. Just don't discount those multi-effects units. A lot of them are really useful and are really cool. You can look into them. You can tweak them to your heart's delight at home. Save your presets to an app. Take them with you. Anything goes wrong. Here's another advantage. Anything goes wrong with it, you just get a new one and take your backed up presets and punch it in. And they all have good warranty. So anyway, that's just one last thing to think about. So anyway, enough about gear. I'll see you in a few weeks. Keep rocking.